Hello, welcome back to Cracking the Cryptic. Loads going on lately on the channel. I hope you didn't miss Simon's return to the Blueprints boiler room and laboratory in a special 20-minute premiere video that we put out on Sunday. It was very amusing. Was it Saturday? I think it may have been Saturday, yeah. But anyway, then I got a bit backed up with videos. So over the last couple of days, my videos may have been announcing things slightly on the wrong day. But what we were able to do on the first of the month is bring out the brilliant Sudoku Hunt, Yin Yang Journey by Itrio. Itrio is a fantastic constructor, and it really is a journey through Yin Yang from the beginning to the end. Highly recommended. Do check it out on our Patreon site, where there will at some point in the month be my very difficult crossword video coming out. There's connections videos every few days, all sorts of other things going on. Do check it out. We've also, of course, got all of our apps which feature many types of Sudokus. Not today's type at all. But the latest is Fog of War, and there are some fabulous puzzles in all the apps. We've also, of course, got well, there's Sudoku Worms coming out any moment now, which is really quite exciting. I will say more when we know what's out. There are, yeah, that's going to be really interesting. And other things going on, we've got our merchandise, SVEN'S SUDOKU PAD linked under the grid. Do check all the links under the grid. There's always something interesting going on. But we are wishing a happy birthday to Flinty today, who created a rule set 86 weeks ago or so called Dutch Flatmates. Now, we have featured a few Dutch Flatmates puzzles on the channel, most by Flinty and one or two by admirers. But Flinty has been continuing a series on Logic Master Germany with a Dutch Flatmates puzzle every week, and has reached number 86 or something, which is a phenomenal achievement. Especially when you hear what the rule set is, in case you haven't before. But I will be going through it as I go through the rules. And it is Flinty's birthday. Almog wrote to us and said, you must wish Flinty a happy birthday. Here's one of his recent puzzles, and one of the very best to use the Dutch Flatmates rules. So, gonna have a go, see how that goes. And I will explain the rules now. So, we've got normal Sudoku rules applying in this puzzle, 1 to 9 in every row, every column, and every 3x3 box, but also along each diagonal, because they're marked in blue, and they have to be, each diagonal is a set of the digits 1 to 9 as well. Now, 5s live in Dutch flats, meaning that every 5 in the grid must either have a 1 directly above it or a 9 directly below it. Every 5 in the grid has one of those things, at least. It may have both, as it says in the rules, but it doesn't need both. Now, if a digit is in a circle, exactly that many instances of that digit must appear in circles. So if that's a 3, there will be exactly 3 3s in circles in the puzzle, something like that. 5s live in Dutch flats. They don't live in circles. So 5's not a digit in a circle. Hang on a second. Right, sorry about that. We were just about to begin, so let's get cracking. Now let's count the circles. That doesn't help do it. Box by box, 1, 2, 8, 9, 10, 14, 18, 21, 23, 24, 26, 28. Now, one doesn't want to get this wrong. It really matters. Now, what we know about these counting circles puzzles, and I know more about those than I do about Dutch Flatmates puzzles. In a counting circles puzzle, the digits that go in the circles, if you took those digits discretely, they would add up to the same number that we've just reached, 28, as if you counted them individually. What do I mean by that? I mean that if you come up with 4 different Sudoku numbers that add up to 28, like 9874, these circles could contain 9 9s, 8 8s, 7 7s and 4 4s. So the different digits that go in the circles will add up to 28, just as the number of instances of them add up to 28. Now, 28 can be the sum of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and I would be tempted normally to expect that that was the case. But the last rule of the rules was 5 live in Dutch flats, they don't live in circles, and that means 5 is not a digit in the circles, and therefore either 8 or 9 or both are going in the circles. Because you can't just do it with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 anymore. And in fact, if 5 is not in, from that total of 28 using 1 to 7, we take 5 out and we've got to 23. Even if you add 8 in, you've got to 31. You'd need to take 3 more out in either a 3 or a 2 and a 1. And if you added a 9 in, you'd need to take 4 out. Now, maybe the first thing to try and do, and I might be on the wrong beam here entirely, but I was just thinking it'd be quite nice to say that 9 and 8 can't be in all the circles. So if 9 was in a circle, there'd be a 9 in row 7. I mean, every 9 in the puzzle would be encircled. So there'd be 1 here. There'd be 1 in one of those two, and that means the one in box 1 would be there. That means the one in box 3 would be there. We'd have 1 in box 2 to find. Oh, that would be the one in box 9, which resolves the one in box 7. Oh, bother. It looks like it is possible. Which was not what I wanted to find. No, hang on. The diagonals have a set of the digits from 1 to 9 on. This is the important point. Oh, I was doing it all in boxes, rows and columns. But neither of the diagonals. Right, well this is really, really relevant. Both of the diagonals have a 9 and an 8 on. There's only one chance for an over. I mean, first of all, we know that it can't be the case that all 9s in the grid are encircled, because one of them on this diagonal would be, and there's no circles on the diagonals. So 9s are not circled. Therefore, the digits that are circled are selected from 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, 7, 8. We're not allowed to circle 5. That was a rule. These other ones add up to 31, and we've got to come up with a total of 28. I'm literally just going to very quickly check my maths. Yes, it's right. I've just added up the circles again there. Right, we've got to 31. We're going to lose 3 out of that. So 8 is going to be circled, and 7, and 6, and 4 necessarily. Now, how can 8 possibly be circled when neither of the diagonals includes a circle and both of them include an 8? And the answer is that the place where they both include an 8 is in the middle. And that is the 1 8 in the puzzle that isn't circled. All the other 8s are going to be. That's absolutely beautiful as a start. And Almog, you're spot on. It's a lovely deduction. So now I'm going to circle. In fact, what I'm going to do is try and colour 8s red just to start with, just to see what happens, and non-8s yellow. So that 8 sees all of those cells. So now the 8, that is the 8 in row 5, column 5 and box 5 is the 8 in the puzzle that isn't circled. Every other row, column and box that doesn't involve row 5, column 5 and box 5 needs an 8. So row 7 needs a circled 8. So row 7 needs a circled 8, and it's there. I mean, I think that is a perfectly fair deduction. Column 6 needs a circled 8, and it's in one of those two cells. box 7 needs one, because it's box 5 that doesn't have one. I'm just literally checking. Right, box 1 needs one. This is a bit like what I was looking at for 9s in a pointless exercise before I'd thought about the diagonals. Box 4 needs one. There it is. Those aren't. Box 6 needs one, so we've found that. Box 2 needs one. Sorry, box 3 first, then box 2. And, oops, lost control of my mouse there. And box 9 needs one, so that decides where they all go. And I think at this point I can highlight the reds and fill 8s into all of them, and they're all done. Then we get rid of the yellow colouring. In fact, we get rid of the red colouring as well. That's 8s completed. Now, actually, it could be worth some places pencil marking 9s, because in box 2, 9 is going to be in one of those cells. In box 5, it's going to be on a diagonal. Okay, I'm not going to worry too much about that at the moment. We've got 8 onto the diagonals. Now, 7. 7 is in a circle, or it is in 7 circles. But places where 7 isn't circled are both on the diagonals. Or, sorry, I've not expressed myself clearly. There are 2 7s on these 2 diagonals. Obviously, this meeting place has gone. The rendezvous is over. And therefore, there's 1 7 in one of these cells on the positive diagonal, 1 7 in one of these cells on the negative. And those are the 2 7s in the puzzle that are not circled. So the only places 7 can appear in this puzzle are either in circles or on diagonals, because there will be 7 in circles and 2 on diagonals that will add up to the 7 7s. Sorry, that will add up to the 9 7s. There will be 7 in circles and 2 on diagonals, and that will be the 9 7s. So I'm yellowing out the cells that can't be 7. And so the remaining cells will have to include a 7. So there's going to be 1 here in box 8. Oh, hang on, is that right? Yes. Box 8 is not supplying one of the 7s on diagonals. That's obvious when I've thought about it finally. So now those cells can't contain a 7. It's very interesting. In each of the corner boxes, there's only 1 cell in each that is not on a diagonal. Now, they don't all contain 7s, but at least 2 of them do. That can't be a 7. I missed that before. Oh, the 7 in this box is in one of those cells, so now those can't be 7s. And now the 7s in box 5, the 7 in box 5, if it's not on the diagonal, it's in one of these circles. I feel I should be able to make more deductions here. If it is on the diagonal, then the 7 in box 1 has to be there. That's the 7 in box 2. The 7 here is on the diagonal. The 7 in box 7 would be on the diagonal. That would therefore be the 7 in box 3. That would be 7. It would be off the diagonal in this box. Wow, it would be fully resolved if it's on the diagonal in box 5, which actually feels like that is quite a plausible solution. No, I'm wrong. It's failed. It's failed in this instance, not plausibly resolved at all. Row 7 hasn't got a 7. Box 8 hasn't got a 7. Right. Okay, I'm now going to start from the point of view that row 7 has to have a 7, and it's definitely on one of the diagonals. That's one of the 7s. Now, that's interesting. I hadn't seen this coming. I don't really want to pencil mark across boxes. One of those is diagonal 7. So in fact, it can't be this one, because that would require the row 7 7 to be here and not leave a place for a 7 in box 1. So that is not a 7. 7 in box 5 is in a circle, and the two 7s on diagonals are in corner boxes. Should really be pencil marking these with 7s preparatory to taking out the colours later. Oh, I haven't thought about the 5s rule in any way at all yet. The Dutch flats rule. Much more interested in the counting circles, but I'm probably going to have to give up on that. I mean, there is also the point that there have to be 6 6s in the circles, and I don't know how hard that is going to be to see where they might dispose themselves around the grid. Probably quite difficult, I imagine. But the trouble is, if I try and move over to thinking about 5s, I just don't feel I've got a lot of information. I suppose 5s can never be in circles. That's basically a rule of the puzzle. So the 5 in box 2 is in one of those cells. Wow, I mean, all that tells me is it's got a 1 above it, which could be in a... if it had a 1 above it, that would be the only 1 in a circle. And that would be quite interesting for 1s, 2s and 3s. If it had a 9 below it, it would be on the diagonal, because that can't be a 9 in a circle. Again, I don't quite know what's helpful there. What is interesting about the rest of the box, which numbers are not... No, 5 never being in a circle means one of those is 5, but it doesn't... Well, these other digits in the box, what are in the circles? There is another digit that is never in circles. The other digit that was never in circles, or the other digit or digits that were never in circles, adds up to 3. It was either going to be a 3 that was never in circles, or a 2 and a 1. But I think we've learnt in this box that it can't be the 2 and the 1 option, because they would both have to be in these cells along with 5 and 9 if they are never in circles. So in fact, this must be a 3, 5, 9 triple. And now we know that these cells are 1, 2, 4, 6, 7, and they include the only 1 in a circle and one of the only 2 2s in circles. So the rest of the circle digits in the puzzle are 7, 6, 4, or 2. And only one of those digits that I've currently got highlighted is a 2. Oh, there's 2, sorry. We should have to include those ones as well. These cells include 6 of the 7s, 5 of the 6s, 3 of the 4s, 1 of the 2s. Now, has that created any bizarre triples and things? Or can we use the Dutch flatmates rule somewhere now? There is a 5 in the top row. This is a Dutch flatmates thing there. Obviously, the top row needs a 5, and below that must sit a 9, because you can't have a 1 above it. And there must be a 5 in the bottom row with a 1 above it. It's not easy to use that at the moment. Oh, these are circles as well. Why have I not got them highlighted? Because they couldn't be sevens. So this is a 2, 4, 6, 7 quad. And these cells are 1, 3, 5, and 9. It's like a reverse magic square. I mean, it's not really, but just to have the odds in corners is a little unusual. That's a 2, 4, 6, 7 quad in the row. Everything else in the row is 1, 3, 5, or 9. It's only 1, 2 in a circle outside box 2. I mean, I've made some deductions, I've made some progress. It doesn't feel like I've done anything very significant in the puzzle yet at all. I suppose I've placed 8s. Still got to place 9s outside circles. That seems less interesting than trying to place 7s in the circles. Yeah, well, okay, what did we say on the diagonals? There is these 4 bits of diagonals contain 2 of the 7s. And then in those boxes, 2 of these other circles contain 7s. And that's definite. I mean, here's an interesting point. Only one of those 2 can be a 7 because they're in the same column, maximum. So at least one of these 2 is a 7, and now 7 can't sit there because it must see one of those 2 as a 7. And the same for this cell. That sees them both as well. Takes me a while to see these items. But that does not really get anything done. Oh, this can't be a 7 because the 7 in box 6 would be there and there'd be nowhere for a 7 in box 2. Oh, so now 7 in box 9 has to be in one of those 2 cells. This is the only place left for 7 in box 7. So that is a 7. And those aren't. Still one of these 2 is. I can yellow out a number of other cells that can't be 7s. Yellow in this puzzle at the moment means not a 7. And one of those 2 is the second 7 on a diagonal. And now these 2 both have to be 7s. Right, so that is fixing a few things. 7 is fixed in box 8. These 2 cells are just yellow. These 2 are yellow. That's red. That fixes where 7 is here. It's right spot on there. Right, 7s are happening for me now. I've got 5 of them in the puzzle. And then they peter out. That's not a 7. Yeah, I don't know what to do with the others, but that was quite an interesting bit of locomotion there. We've got all the possible locations for 7 marked in boxes 1, 2, 4, and 5 now. Now, it is probably time to start pondering 6s and where we're going to put 6 6s in circles. Well, or do we start thinking about 4s as well? No, let's do 6s. There is a 6 in this group of 1, 2, 4, 6, 7. And there is one in this group of 2, 4, 6, 7. That's 2 of the 6s. The other 4 6s in circles get a choice of those ones in column 3. You could have one of them there. That would be the 3rd one. But then, don't you have to use boxes 4, 6, and 8? Yeah, you do. we've got to put I think this is right. We've got to put 6 sixes in circles in total in this puzzle. One is in box 2. One is in this group in box 5. That's 2 of them. We can have one of them only in column 3. And then we need to use that group, that cell, and that cell to fit the other 6s in. So both of these are 6s, and one of these is definitely a 6. And one of these 2 is a 6, but I don't want to mark across boxes again. Now, that didn't really do anything for 6 on the diagonals. It didn't. Oh, well, it takes 6 out of those 2 cells, which are now a 2-4 pair. And therefore, the other pair in the box are a 6-7 pair. And that is the second 2 that is going in the circles. There's one in this box and one in this box. That's been available for ages, but none of the other circles can have a 2 in now. So this is a 4-6-7 group. This is a 4-6 pair. The 4 4s are 1, 2, 3, and 4, and that's about all the pencil marking I can do that is relevant for circles now. So as long as I just unwind these in some way, we've done the job. Now, surely it has become time to think about the Dutch flatmates rule. We've basically established what's going on in the circles now. They're done. What was I doing in yellow? I was marking where 7s could be. I'm going to remove the yellow and indeed the red now. There we go. And we'll think about 5s now and the Dutch flatmates rule, which is the main thing we have left going for us. Now, it's normally quite interesting to consider where 5 is in the top row, and that's going to put 9 in one of those 4 cells. I don't know. I don't think that feels very interesting in this puzzle. I'm more interested in where 5 goes in this column. Because if it goes there or there, it would have to have 1 above it. In fact, 5 can't go here because that's not a 1 and that's not a 9. Now, if 5 went there, it would have a 9 below it. If 5 went here, it would have a 1 above it. If it went there, it would have 9 below it. I was about to say this can't be a 5, but that's not correct, because it could have a 1 above it. This can't be a 5, because it's got 8 above and 6 below. I'm not good at this flatmates rule. That much I do know. Oh look, there's a 4-6-7 triple in the row. I'm better at Sudoku. And even that's taken me ages to spot. So that's not 2. Okay. This is 4. 4 is going to put 4 in one of those cells and stop it being there. This can't be 5 because neither above or below can it have the relevant digit. Now, 5 is now on that diagonal in one of those cells. Actually, this can't be 5 either, because that can't be 1 and this can't be 9. So we found 5 in the central box. It's got to be there. It's got to have 9 below it. Oh, that's so clever. Then we've got a 3 here and a 1 there. This is now a 3-9 pair. Let's mark the 5s that have to have flatmates above or below, or whatever that means. That's now a 5 by Sudoku because of this 3-9 pair. That 5 either has a 1 there or a 9 there or both, but that digit is a 9. There's a 4 in one of these two. 7 and 6. One of these is a 7 and one in the other column is a 6. Oh, that digit seems to have become a 4. And therefore, we've got a 1, 2, 6, 7 quad up here. Now, 5 on this diagonal was interesting. So 5 has now been forced off this diagonal in various positions. That can't be 5 either by Sudoku. That can't be 5 because above it can't be 1 and below it can't be 9. So the only places for 5 on this diagonal now are here, here, or here. One of those 3 yellows is a 5. One of these 3 cells in column 5 is a 5. It's not there because it couldn't have 1 above or 9 below. We've already had 9 in the box. So 5 is in one of those 2 cells. And if it was there, that's a 1. So this cell is either 1 or 5 by that means. If 5 was here, no, if 5 was here, well, that would be a 1. So the 5 in neither of these positions can have a 9 below. 5 in one of them must have a 1 above. So one of those 2 is a 1, and these 2 aren't 1s. That's a 2, 6, 7 triple now, and this group of cells is 1, 3, 5, and this is a 2, 4 pair on the left. And now 2 can't be in those cells. 2, 4, 8, 3, 9, 5, and a 1, 6, 7 triple. I still don't know how that 5's getting its rule fulfilled. Okay, row 6, we've got 1, 2, 3, and 9 left to place. I should still be doing something with 5s, I know. If that was a 5, it needs a 1 here, which is pushing that to be 5, which needs a 1 there. And then there'll be a 5 here and a 1 down here. But the 5 here that I'm postulating can either have a 9 below or a 1 above. So that wasn't a fruitful line of inquiry. Everything in column 3 that isn't 4 or 6 or 7 or 8 is 1, 2, 3, 5, or 9. That digit is only 1 or 2. Oh, I've got to use the diagonals, haven't I? I've got to use them more. I've used them a bit, but not enough. That's probably what's going on. I don't know, actually, though. That 1 or 2, do I know anything about that? Not really. Still got 1, 2, 3, 9 to place in row 6. I've probably mentioned that before. 1, 2, 4, 6 in row 3. That one can't be a 1 on the diagonal. Seven. The 4, 6 pair in these 2 circles feels like it ought to be powerful, but it's not teaching me anything at the moment. I suppose that 4 or 6 has to appear on the diagonal down here. I can't quite highlight it. And that one on the diagonal up here. Oh dear. 6, 7, 1, 8. We know there's a 4 in one of those cells. Now, I need to do something with the rule. So there's a 5 in the bottom row with a 1 above it in one of those 4 cells. So the 1 in the bottom, in the row above the bottom row, is in one of those cells. If that was a 5, the 1 or 9 above it would make a virtual 1, 3, 5, 9 quad. That would have to be 2 or 4. I don't quite understand how to get this done. This can't be a 5, by the way. Oh, because it sees a 5. For a perfectly obvious reason. I was actually working it out from what could be above or below it. For this to be a 5, that would have to be a 1. Oh, and I've just seen that for either of, this one can never be a 5, because that can't be 1 and that can't be 9. And we know that one isn't. The 5 in row 5 is in one of those two cells, and it can't have a 1 above it because of that. So one of these two cells here has to be 9. I'm marking them specially because I'm marking across boxes. But that proves this cell is a 3. Ah, now that's a 9. Now this 5 is fulfilled. Doesn't matter whether that is a 1. That's a shame. One of these is a 9. That digit is 1 or 2. Seven, 9, 7, 6, 1, 3, 5, 9. What about 2 in this box? Do I know anything? No, I don't think I do. This is 1, 2, or 9 just by Sudoku. So somewhere in this column we have to have a 5. It's either there or there because it has to have a 1 above or a 9 below. So one of these two cells is a 5, and that finally means this one isn't. If that's a 5, this is a 9, and the 3 in the column has to go here. But if that's a 5, this could be 9. And if that's a 5, this could be 1. So it just doesn't resolve again. I'm going to fill in 1, 2, 9 there. We know there's a 4 in one of those two. I can't. Now, did we get anything more firmed up on the diagonal? We've got 9, 8, 5 there. 7 is up here with a 1 or a 2. On this other diagonal, we've got 7, 3, 8, 1 marked. I don't know, it's tricky. It's tricky to get anything else out of this. One of these two is 4 and one is 6. Does that break up any 1, 5, 9 patterns? I don't think it does. I really don't. I mean, we're moving along quite nicely, but I do keep stalling. It's a bit like a kangaroo hop puzzle where I make a deduction and I jump forward a tiny bit and then I'm stopped again. I'm talking about a car kangaroo hopping there. Gosh. I don't know. I'm getting frustrated now, as you are watching me get frustrated. 8, 4, 6, 7, 1, 9. These digits are from 2, 3, and 5. Now, I'm pretty sure this isn't a 5 because we've said the 5 in the column, in column 3 is in one of those two cells. That's right. So that is just 2 or 3. 6, 7, 9, 1, 8. These are also from 2, 3, 4, 5. What have we said about the 5 in this row? Nothing really. It could have 9 beneath it or 1 above it in a couple of spots. Haven't said anything about the 5 in this row. Nothing interesting and nothing can be said. Don't know what's going on then. How do you make any progress here? I'm sorry, I'm so stuck now. Maybe you think about what happens in this column if this is a 7. Because where are you going to fit the 5 now? It's going to have to be in one of these cells. If that was a 7, I mean, well, can you even put a 5 there? That is actually vaguely interesting. If this was a 5, that would be a 1. This would be a 2. This would be a 2. The 1-5 pair would see to that. This would be a 3, 4, 6, 9 quad. And the 5 in this box would need a 1 above it. Oh, you see, there are ramifications, there are fallouts from positing a 5 in a cell like that. 5 here would make that into a 9 for sure. But there's a bit more freedom for 5 down in the bottom end of the column. That is probably the way to progress, is to sort of figure out 5 there. 5 in one of these cells would go with 4 in the other one. And the 5 would either have a 1 above it or a 9 below it. And that would consign the 5 here to be having 9 below it, which would definitely make that a 2-3 pair. Is that doing anything at all? No, it just isn't. It's just not doing anything for me. I mean, I'm basically looking at the same relationships I've looked at a moment ago. I'm meant to be doing something else now in the puzzle. I don't know what it is. Okay, if that was a 6, then this couldn't be a 6, and that would be the 6 in the circle in column 3. What would that do? We'd need a 6 in one of those two cells. We'd need a 6 on the positive diagonal, and it's not run out of spaces, but there aren't many. Or do we just take the idea of whatever this is and say it has to be on this bit of diagonal? Or do we take digits that have been forced off diagonals so far? Yeah, I already did this for 5s. I said 5's in one of those yellow cells. Now, the one with flexibility is there, but for the others, you've either got a 1 here or a 9 here. Goodness, no, I don't know what that does. Okay, I'm getting a bit annoyed at myself now for not having any idea how to break through here. Have I missed something very obvious with the flatmate rule? There is a good chance of that. 5 here would definitely need a 1 above, and 5 here would need a 9 below. Oh, 5 can't, yeah, no, I've said this before, 5 can't be here because that and that don't work. That's why it's not yellow. I mean, the other way to look at it is if these do include 5, then that's a sort of yellow X-wing. That means one of these 3 is 5. Well, this can't be 5. Actually, this can't be 5 either. So we should be perhaps looking at where 5 is in this column. It can be there with a 9 directly below. Then you've got a 1-3 pair here, 2 underneath a 4. So 5 could be here in column 7. It can also be here with another possible 9 directly below, but I think it can also be in this cell with a 1 above. I see that 3 would then be forced off this diagonal into this cell. If you had this pair either as 5 above 9 or 5 below 1, 3 always ends up here. The only way 3 doesn't end up in row 2, column 9 is if the 5 in column 7 is very specifically here. Now, what does that do then? We get a 5-9 pair here, 1, 3, 2 and 4. 7, 2, 4, 8. That would be 1 or 6. This is me trying to find a place in this box for 3 that isn't there. It can't be on the diagonal, so 3 is in one of these 3 places. If it's there, it forces the 5 to be here. 3, 5, 9, 7, 8. We've got 1, 2, 4, 6 left. Maybe I could prove that 3 isn't here. It doesn't seem likely, but you just never know. No, I don't think there's anything like that going on. Frustrating. I mean, it'd be lovely to find some elusive little connection. Oh, feeling very daft now. But it feels interesting that 5 can't be there or there. It's like the teeth of a comb. 5 obviously also can't be in these cells. Maybe I do need to change my highlighting in the puzzle to the literal question of where can 5 not be. Yeah, I mean that's my next step. It's a paltry step. It's something I should have done ages ago. But I am going to do it now. I'm going to highlight in yellow where 5 can not possibly be, by virtue of everything else that we've done. Also there, I'm sure I've missed cells, circles there. Oh, this cell where it's marked as 2 or 3. So 5 is definitely in one of those 2 cells and not there. It's not on this diagonal because it's been on it once already. And I mean, things are narrowing down. 5's not there either. Come on. This is what I should have done this ages ago. Now, so the remaining white cells are where 5 can be in the puzzle. I don't think that can be 5, and it shouldn't be marked as such. That's true. Right, come on, Mark. 5 there would make that a 9. Well, this is important. If 5 was there, that would be a 9. This would be a 1-3 pair. And that would be a definite 9, which would force 5 there as well. And this would become 3. That's probably not the most interesting output. Well, 5 there. What am I saying? That would be 9. It doesn't tell me about 3 in box 4. 5 here. This seems to be the difficult option. That has to be 9. So that becomes a 1-2 pair. This definitely becomes 3, in fact. Okay, I hadn't worked that out before. So 3's end up in certain positions in the puzzle if this cell is a 5. And this needs to be considered. Then I need a 3 on this diagonal. And since 3 is confined in boxes 2 and boxes 3 and 6, it would be there on the diagonal. And then what? Why is there a problem? I don't think there is a problem. Oh, well, 5 in box 1 has got those 2 possibles. If 5 is there, it must have a 9 below it. If 5 is here, it must have a 1 above it. And in both cases, that's going to force the 7 on the diagonal. Oh, well, this is where I should be looking. Maybe it is. So if 5 was here, it must have 1 above it. It must have 7 there. So we'd be going 1, 5, 7, 2. This would be a 3-9 pair. Absolutely for sure. The potential 2 here means that the 5 in this box must have a 9 below it, so that would have to be a 3. So that's all based on this being a 5. But there is an alternative of this being a 5 with a 9 below it and a 7 there. That feels a little less constrained to me. I mean, I still think we're on the verge of that having to be a 3, but it's not as obvious. Oh, this can't be a 5 with a 9 below it because of the blooming diagonal. How long can it take? The diagonal 9. That's not a 5. This is a 5 in box 1. I'm sorry, that has taken over 10 minutes for that single simple deduction. The cell above it has to be a 1 because the one below it can't be a 9. And now we are just going to fill in some digits in a moment because I've kind of practiced them. This is 7 on the diagonal. This is a 3, 4, 6 triple down here in which the 6, it can't be in the corner, that's all we know. Never mind about that. This can't be 2 or 1. So that's a 4, 6 pair. This is a 3, 9 pair. Now I thought I was going to prove that this was... Well, neither of these can be 2. I thought I was going to prove this was 3. Yes, the 5 in these cells now can't have a 1 above it. So it must have a 9 below it. And therefore 9 is in one of those 2 cells and not here. That's how we prove the 3. God, I mean, I've kind of been through this. It's awful to have stumbled for so long. That is 2 or 5 by Sudoku. If it was a 5, this would be a 9. Wow, you'd be really struggling to put 9 on the positive diagonal. It would have to go there. In fact, these aren't 5. That's just Sudoku now. One of these is a 5, and it can't have a 9 below it, so it must have a 1 above it. Anywhere where a 1 can't be here? No. Oh, it can't be on the diagonal, so that can't be 5. So the only place for 5 in the bottom row is suddenly found. That needs a 1 above it, always. There it is. This is now a 3 by Sudoku. That can't be 3. I mean, it's very clever, and I feel very foolish. One of these 2 is a 1 in the column now to be above the 5. And these are not 5s because of this 5 we placed. One of these 2 is and needs a 9 below it in one of those cells. That's the flatmates rule in operation. And that 9 is never on the diagonal now. So this diagonal needs a 9 in the corner. There it is. Everything else in the bottom row is 1, 2, 3, or 4, but in this box we've had a 3, 4, 6 triple on the diagonal. Now, these cells include a 5. No, much more importantly, they include a 9. Well, more importantly at the moment, they include a 9. That's there. So the 5's in one of these 2 cells. The 5 in row 8 is there on the diagonal. Now I can cancel that as a possible 5, stick 5 in there with a 9 below it. Oh, yes, and it is coming now. The only possible 5 in the final column is there. It's got its 9 below it. That's yellow. I've got 2 5s left to find. We'll have a look at that when we've done a bit of Sudoku now. Those can't have a 2 in. These, they are a 6, 7 pair. So these are not a 6, 7 pair. They are literally 1 and 2. Look, that 5 has both its flatmates. It's quite a strange rule. A lot of the puzzles and their rules require... To be unique, you always expect them to... I don't know what I'm trying to explain. uniqueness in certain puzzles. For there to be a unique solution often requires that only one of two possible alternatives. I'm thinking of quadruples particularly. You very rarely have a puzzle where a quadruple digit actually has two of the same item in the square around it. But it does happen in flatmates where this occurs, and you do have the two flatmates. It does, to me, it makes it an interesting feature of the rule set. Now, I'm just doing Sudoku digits now, even though I'm mistyping some of them. That's not a 1. Now, what did we know about the 5 here? It was going to have a 9 below it. Oh, well, okay. We'll come back to that. Still 1, 8, 6, 7. That 5 is purple. 8, 1. That's a 2 by Sudoku. Okay, that's going to get something done. This is a 1, 4 pair. We know the order. Now we've got these circles. I'd forgotten the circles, but they didn't really matter that much. Both diagonals are fully done now. This is a known 3. This is a 2. This is 9. Now we've found a 5 by, I was going to say by magic. It's not by magic, and it's not by flatmates logic. It's by Sudoku. It would only be by magic if Sudoku was magic, and I know Simon doesn't believe that. 9, 1, 2. Right, this is the only place in the column for 3. That's 6 and 4. That's a 7. This is 6. 6, 7, 6, 7, 2, 4. I've got one cell left to do. That's a 2. All my 5s have flatmates of either 1 above or 9 below. Yes, they do. That's it. Wow, that's good, Flinty. That's really good. I found that tough. I mean, there was one long stage in the middle where I couldn't see that because that couldn't be a 9, we could place 5 in box 1. And it took all the colouring that I did to identify that. Very good stuff. Thank you, as always, for watching me struggle through something on the channel. We will be back tomorrow with more Sudoku, and bye for now.